One of CitizenLink's founding Family Policy Council leaders heads to Washington. This is the CitizenLink Report. Hi, I'm Kim Trobee. Well, CitizenLink is proud to be affiliated with 38 family policy councils, including the Alabama Policy Institute. API was founded 25 years ago with Gary Palmer at the helm, but when he and his wife felt God's leading, Gary threw his hat in the ring for an open congressional seat. Well, we caught up with him on a typical day as a U.S. House of Representative member.
I'd had people for years telling me that I should run for office, and I'd actually been involved with, we're part of another network, state policy network of the state-based think tanks, and we'd had our annual meeting out in Oklahoma City, and it was an incredible week for me. That just responses to speeches and stuff, and people kept saying you need to run for office. So I came back. People were saying, other folks back home were saying the same thing, and I thought I need to pray about this, and I just basically said, Lord, you should. I don't recommend starting your prayers telling the Lord what you don't want, but I said I don't want to go to Washington. I don't want to be in Congress, but I didn't want to leave my engineering job to do this, and it's worked out. So if this is what you want me to do, I'll do it. And got up the next morning, was shaving, and someone sent me a text. I finished what I was doing, went in and checked the text, and the message was that Spencer Backus, who held the 6th district seat, had just announced he wasn't running again. So I had a ton of people then coming at me, and I initially said that I would run, and I made a trip to Washington, and while I was up here, just was, I guess for lack of a better word, depressed by it all, and had decided I would not run. Went back, told the chairman of the board that I wasn't going to run, and went home that evening, told my wife that I wasn't going to run, and we were sitting at the kitchen table, and she just said, look, for years I've heard you say what's wrong with the country is you can't get good people to run. She said, I've even heard you compare it to having to go to war. And then she asked, reminded me that all that, and then she asked, how can you expect somebody else to go if you won't go? Mm-hmm. She said, I know this is not what we want, but I don't think it's about what we want. I think it's about what we're supposed to do. And I know most husbands hate it when their wives throw their words back at them, but I knew she was right. And so I got in, and in January of 2014, my name ID was at 4%. Half the people who thought they knew my name thought I was a golfer. So the local media thought I'd finish 5th, maybe 4th, but clearly this is where I was supposed to be. Yeah. So here I am.
Now, Gary, you are now in Congress. Is your office in the basement? Where are you at? Tell us where you're located.
Well, the way you get your office is you draw numbers, and there were 57 freshmen, and I drew number 3. So I got my first choice of offices, and I have a great office in Cannon. Cannon's my favorite office building, and so we're on the 2nd floor. So it worked out well. Hold on just a sec, Kim.
Sure.
They're voting right now. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, he'll be right back. They have a recorded vote that he has to run to. Yep. You can hold on, can't you?
Yep. Tell our viewers what it's like to be in Congress.
Well, the pace is extremely rapid. But I knew when I got here I wanted to be on the Budget Committee, and I knew I wanted to be on Oversight and Government Reform. So knowing the committees I wanted to be on, I knew who I wanted on staff, and I was able to get the senior legal counsel from the Senate Budget Committee to leave the Senate and come to work for me as my chief. And that shocked a lot of people. And then my legislative director had been on the Budget Committee on the Senate side for 2.5 years. And had gone over to the Heritage Foundation as their legislative strategist, and she left, came over to work for us. And we knew who we wanted in our comms guy, got him. We're adding a couple of legislative assistants, again, looking for people with specific expertise. And that's how you manage the schedule, because I'm on 3 committees, and we're literally there's several days where all 3 committees meet the same day at the exact same time, and it could be that 2 of them are having hearings. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have a staff that really gets you ready for for your day, and can stay on top of things during the day. So, and I would add that it's exceptionally aerobic. There's a lot of walking, getting from one committee meeting to another, and they're often, in my case, two of my committees meet in the Rayburn office building. The other is in Cannon, and those are the two extremes, So, and then it's a pretty good little march over to the Capitol to vote. So, you've really got to have outstanding people, and you've got to have an incredible scheduler to keep up with everything. Because not only do you have your committees and your votes, you've got people coming in from the district, from all sorts of places to see you. So it's generally a 10 to 12 hour day.
Yeah. Now you've been there since what, January?
I think it's January 6th. I think this is my 8th week. But my routine is that we come up on Monday. Usually it's Monday, sometimes it's Tuesday, and I go home Thursday night after the votes. So I've got a day in the district and a couple of days in the district. Sunday is family day. It's worship day. We're not going to do anything on Sunday. And then now we're on a regular schedule where about every third week we get a week in the district to do district work. So
good.
I'm getting home, and I during the campaign I joked I want to be in my yard on Saturday and in my church on Sunday.
I think that's good. What would you like to see at the end of your term? What's your dream for doing this?
Well, this is going to sound kind of academic and a little policy wonkish, but I think that we get so caught up in some of these policy discussions that we're losing sight of something that is vitally important, and we're losing constitutional government. I gave a little talk today at here in D.C., and I talked about the fact that we're supposed to have 3 equal and separate branches of government. Well, we don't anymore. Congress has been diminished. They've been diminished by the executive branch. They've been diminished by the courts, and now we're diminished by the House is being diminished by the Senate. And this is extremely dangerous. Jonathan Turley, who's a liberal Democrat law professor at George Washington University, testified before the House back last year, and then before the Senate just recently, and he talked about how dangerous this is. We've got this issue with the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security funding bill, where we've mandated that we funded the agency, but we've mandated that they can't use any of that funding to carry out the president's unconstitutional executive order. Well, a lot of people think that's about immigration. It really isn't. It's about separation of powers and constitutional government. And every American, Democrat or Republican, ought to be concerned about that because it's diminishing Congress. So I think that's one of the big things that I think we need to accomplish is the restoration of constitutional government. I think they're calling me to vote again.
All right, Gary, it was good to talk to you.
That's about
All right. All right. Good to talk to you, Kim. I'll see you later.
Our thanks to a very busy Representative Gary Palmer. Just to let you know, Alabama Policy Institute is now in the very capable hands of Caleb Crosby. He's just one of 38 Family Policy Council leaders that we have the opportunity to work with on a daily basis. They work hard to uphold the biblical principles of faith, freedom, and family values. If you're interested, you can find one in your state by going to CitizenLink.com. We want to say thank you to all of you who have taken the time to write and give us your thoughts and encouragement. You can always tell us what you're thinking. Just go to mail@citizenlink.com. That's mail@citizenlink.com. Please continue to pray for our nation and for our elected officials, just like Gary Palmer. They have a very difficult job. And remember, stand tall and be heard.